My name is Madison Florence, and tonight I get to be a choreographer, but I'm also a dancer and a digital product manager here in Boston. Before we dive in, I'd like to take you about a year and a half into the future. Bear with me. Let's imagine you come here for a performance, not unlike tonight. It's evening-length work, and it's sharing the experience of people who have historically and present day worked in space sciences. And it's Madison Florence's first evening-length choreographic feature. A lot has happened over the last 2 years. A group of 15 dancers has been formed. They've developed a creative process and shaped a performance around both their identities and the stories of others. Many books have been read, interviews conducted. Scientists, dancers, and creators have collaborated to make this performance happen. And now it's making its debut. That sounds like a very exciting night, at least for me, hopefully for you all too. But it will take us back to the present day. We are far from evening-length work, but our path forward is very clear to me. We are 4 months into developing this work. Some books have been read, interviews have been watched. There are 6 dancers actively working on this piece, and we're doing a lot of improvisation and trying new things. What I'd like to show you tonight is an example of what we've been working on, and it's my personal first step in developing an evening-length work. In our rehearsals, we've been exploring the concept of circles, orbits, lines, and other different visual representations of things you might see in space or in the space sciences fields. We've been addressing the feelings of people who've worked in STEM, of women who've been neglected from the history of space stories, and people of color who've had to use a bathroom in a separate building because they were in the time of segregation, even though they were probably the smartest people in the room. Of queer and trans people who've never had the chance to come out, but they would have lost their jobs if they did, or worse. Of parents who've had to leave their job to go raise a family, or had to make the difficult choice to spend hours, days, weeks at a time away from their family for their career. And of people today who are actively changing what we see when we imagine an astronaut, or engineer, or chemist, or biologist. We've also explored being seen and being perceived, and what it feels like to be acknowledged. Today, I'd like to focus on just that last point. I'd like to invite my dancers and some guests to the stage to do a guided improvisational exercise we've done before in our rehearsals. Please name where you're at. Thank you, Lila. All right. For everyone on stage, before we get started, I want to make sure you're all cool with physical touch. Give your head a nod yes, shake no if you're not. Looks like we're all good. Great. So we're going to begin. Everyone on stage, I'd like you to move in your own style. Think about circles, orbits, and lines. How have you created circles? How does it contrast with a straight line or a harsh angle? As you move, do not acknowledge each other or the audience. Do your best to make no eye contact or physical contact, and stay focused on yourself internally. to their seats or back off stage, I'd like you all to take a moment to just reflect on what the experience felt like for yourself. What did it feel like to be acknowledged after not being seen for so much of that piece? Just let that kind of rest in your mind. I'd love to chat with you after. We won't do Q&A now. But we'll jump back to our current time and kind of what I'm looking ahead to. So right now we're only 4 months into this 2-year-long project. And what would be most beneficial to me and to my project would be your support. So there's several different ways you could do this. I have an email newsletter I'll be sending out regularly. You could register for that at the link in your program. I'm also seeking dancers to hit that goal of 15 people. Applications will close on May 15th, so feel free to apply if you're interested or know someone who is. And finally, the big question, as always, I am also seeking financial contributions. I have a current goal of fundraising $6,000 to support this project and pay all the dancers involved. If you're interested in engaging in any way, in any capacity, even not listed here, feel free to chat with me after, and I'd love to get to know you all. Thank you.